of Management Studies, IGNOU presents an audiobook on the course Mmpc 016 International Business Management for MBA program. Presenting Block 4 International Business Functions, Unit 13 International Human Resource Management, Part 1.
Objectives. After reading this unit, you should be able to 1. Explain the role and nature of International Human Resource Management IHRM. 2. Identify the cross-cultural issues in IHRM. 3. Describe the process of international recruitment and selection and the need for training and development. 4. Explain the need and process of managing expatriates and the methods for appraising their performance. And 5. State the objectives, approaches, and components of compensation for international human resources. Introduction. Human resource management is crucial to organizational competitiveness and productivity due to the growing diversity of the world's workforce and the increasing importance of the international workforce. There is far more interest and enthusiasm among HR managers to better manage the diversity in the workforce as businesses are getting international. If an international organization is to survive in today's competitive environment, it must successfully manage the increasing complexities of its human resource. Human resource management is also growing in importance as the firms with global ambitions are relocating their business operations to those geographical areas where they enjoy advantages in scale, scope, systems, and synergy. Role and nature of International Human Resource Management IHRM. International business corporations, whether large or small, if intending to retain their domestic operations and yet to be competitive with respect to cost and quality, they will have to improve their quality, genre, and philosophy of their human resources. Talented people must be attracted to join the organization, trained, motivated, and developed to perform at high levels, and encouraged to remain with the organization with loyalty and commitment, thus helping international business firms to achieve their core objectives. Let us now understand 4C's model by Manab. This model will help us in understanding how it can act as a catalyst for effective human resource management. 4C's model of human resource management. Effective human resource management is essential for corporate success and it can be facilitated by applying the 4C's model for human resource outcomes. The 4C's are 1. Competence. How competent are our employees? Is more training required? To what extent do our HR policies attract and retain good people? 2. Commitment. Just how committed are our workers to their jobs and to the growth and development of the organization? How do our HR policies promote workers' commitment to the job? 3. Congruence. Is there a congruence between the basic values and goals of the organization and that of its employees? Is there something that binds the spirits of all employees into single vision, creating an environment of trust and respect for all? 4. Cost effectiveness. Are our HR policies cost effective with respect to wages, benefits, absenteeism, turnover, and so on? Through the proper framing and execution of human resource policies, an organization can maximize the performance of its human asset. When the 4Cs are well managed, they provide a number of rich rewards to the organization. The rewards can be 1. High competence of the employees leads to A. Versatile skill set of the employees, B. Capacity to assume higher roles when assigned, and C. Capacity to respond enthusiastically to external challenges. 2. High commitment ensures A. Better communication between subordinates and their superiors, B. Mutual trust and respect between subordinates and superiors, and C. mutual understanding of issues of all stakeholders. 3. High congruence leads to A. A common purpose for all concerned, B. Collaborative approach to problem solving, and C. Concerted and cohesive responses to environmental challenges. 4. High cost effectiveness leads to A. Harmonious relations among employee, B. Equitable remuneration and rewards leads to very low dissonance, C. Overall happy working environment. IHRM Definition and Scope. Typically, HRM refers to those activities that are undertaken by an organization to utilize its human resource effectively. Some of these activities include 1. Human resource planning, 2. Staffing, 3. Training and development, 4. Performance management, 5. Compensation and benefits, and 6. Labor relations. We now consider which activities change or has to be revisited when firms becomes global. An international engaged firm requires internationalization of HR policies, activities, and actions. An article by Morgan on the development of international HRM presents a model of international HRM that consists of 3 dimensions. 1. The 3 broad human resource activities: procurement, allocation, and utilization. 2. The 3 national or country categories involved in international HRM activities: the host country where a subsidiary may be located, the home country where the firm is headquartered, and other countries that may be the source of labor or finance. 3. The 3 types of employee of an international firm: host country nationals, HCNs, parent country nationals, PCNs, and third country nationals, TCNs. Thus, for example, IBM employs Australian citizens, HCNs, in its Australian operations, often sends US citizens, PCNs, to Asia Pacific countries on assignment, and may send more of its Singaporean employees on an assignment to its Japanese operations as TCNs. Compensation management of HCNs. While deciding on a compensation structure of host country, nationals working in the host country, the local culture, and practices along with the prevailing government rules and regulations are to be taken into consideration. Furthermore, due consideration should be given to general compensation policy of the parent company. Any kind of discrimination in compensation policy between parent and host country nationals may lead to ill feeling and dissonance among the employees in the host country. International HR managers are required to work closely with both parent and host country, HR team, and exchange information about the compensation packages, among other things. A consideration is made to expatriates who will be earning a much higher salary than their host country peers for doing more or less the same work. But such a reward to expatriates is required to bring talent and strive for growth of the company. One way of dealing with problem is to pay equally to all the employees, that is, expatriates from home or other countries and host countries professionals, but offer a special allowance to expatriates to attract them for specialized and specific works which they are assigned with. Expatriates can be offered allowances or other rewards at the HQ so that employees at position of work are not aware of what expatriates are getting as an extra compensation. In recent years, there is a trend in favor of flexpatriates, who are frequent flyers, foreign professionals, who travel at a short notice for shorter time durations while maintaining their family and personal lives at home, that is, in their country location. Cross-cultural issues in IHRM. Culture. By culture, we mean the whole set of social norms and responses that condition a population's behavior. It is cultural setup that makes social environment different from another and engrows everyone in its unique and own color. Culture is acquired, in fact, to be precise, it is inculcated. It is the set of rules and behavior patterns that an individual learn and imbibe through his or her social interactions but does not inherit. For every society, these norms and behavioral responses develop into a different and unique cultural pattern that gets passed down through the generations with continual embellishment and adaptations. Culture is largely inculcated through languages, spoken or written. Language then becomes the medium of culture. It may even condition what we see, oversee, and observe in our informal communications with gestures, body language, and signs, etc. Culture can be interpreted based on certain cultural patterns, traits, and customs. In a nutshell, the fundamental precursors of culture are the interrelated concepts of belief, values, attitude, behavior, language, nonverbal cues, communication customs, and trust customs. One factor leads to another in sequence. However, all the four factors are multifaceted, indicating that the consequences of a given behavior will have implications for each of the precursors, which in turn define culture. International HR managers need to recruit and select the employees who shall be working on international business deals and needs to understand and comprehend cultural aspects well. These employees have to negotiate business contracts and figure out marketing strategies for the particular market. Hence, the employees for international business operations must always be prepared for unexpected cultural factors that they have to deal with. The following aspects of culture need to be properly understood with 1. Language. Language is an important basis to understand a culture. If someone can speak the language of host countries, one can understand the expectation of its employees, methods to deal with, and address their concerns before it becomes a problem. Furthermore, language helps us understand the business paperwork, especially related to tax laws, employment laws, and business law, and help manage operational decisions of the firm. 2. Religion. Religion also has important bearing on culture and largely shapes the beliefs, values, and customs of the society. Understanding of religion can help avoid many challenges. For instance, Christians celebrate Christmas with enthusiasm and prefer not to work at least in the second half of December. Religion might be an important thing to take into consideration when it comes to international business. 3. Etiquette. Etiquettes are an integral part of any culture, and one can understand cultural sensitivity through etiquettes. Etiquettes may differ even with a cultural group, as these are shaped how we are raised, educated, and work with. Etiquettes shape a particular way of behaving and social guidelines, which in turn lead to specific pattern of thinking. For instance, green color is preferred color of Muslims around the world except in Malaysia, where it is distasted upon. If one is making sound during eating, it might annoy a German, but Chinese believe that you are enjoying the food. 4. Negotiation. Communication and trust customs of a culture helps in business negotiation. Business negotiations are the most crucial business skills for international business. Several studies have been conducted and they specify the best way to approach international negotiation. Business negotiation tactics should be in line with the culture and language, along with deeper understanding of clients' business goals and motivations. Role of culture in international HRM. Culture plays an important role in international human resource management. We first take up the elements of cross-culture diversity, cross-cultural perspectives. Socio-economic and cultural variables influence management philosophy and practices in all countries. It is not easy to transmit home country's work culture, boss-subordinate relationship, decision-making process, value systems and techniques in other countries. The issues relating to applicability, transferability, and utility of advanced management knowledge and practices, therefore, have remained clouded. Cross-cultural studies have confirmed variations in management thinking and practices based on social, economic, and cultural differences. A few illustrations are 1. Japanese culture places high premium on collective responsibility, which is described by the word shujo hu on, gratitude to nature and other human beings for one's success. This philosophy requires abandoning the idea of individual power domination in favor of cooperative group action. This is not so in Western culture, which is based on individualism leading to the goal of self-actualization and fulfillment for individual rather than a group as a whole. Decision-making in Japanese system is considered to be more time-consuming than in American system. Under Ringi Saido, the formal process of decision-making may start at any level, but it normally starts at middle management level and then works its way both laterally and horizontally. It results in reducing the risk. The degree of participation, examination of detail, and speed of implementation is higher in this system compared to US European system where individuals play more important role and make quick decisions, but the accuracy and implementation may not be of that high order. 2. Work is regarded as an end in itself in Anglo American culture, but not so in Mexico. 3. Whether it is the shortcomings, the US management is still considered to be more democratic than the French, German, and Indian management styles, though it is conceded that the autocratic style is not always dysfunctional and may be appropriate in a given situation. 4. Some studies indicate that in the economically backward countries, authoritarian style of leadership in business has shown better results in terms of productivity than the democratic style. It has also been found that managers in these countries have a tendency to project their values on others in comparison to the most managers in developed countries. Salary differences between average and poor performers in these countries are low as compared to developed countries, where performance is an important criterion for determining pay packet. The managers in developing countries are also found to be satisfied with the usual maintenance of their operations, while managers in developed countries stress objectives of growth and competition. The studies confirm that there is no single way of doing things or managing enterprises. Similarities may be explained in terms of cultural variables, while differences are looked into from socio-economic and cultural perspectives. Elements of cross-cultural diversity. The elements of cross-cultural diversity may relate to spoken language, unspoken language, hand gestures, and symbolism. Spoken language. Spoken language actually splits some nations into more than one culture. In Belgium, there are two definable cultures based on the two languages, French and Dutch, that are spoken there. Similarly, there are two cultures in Switzerland, matching its two languages, German and French. Canada is currently experiencing serious political pressure to split the nation into two separate countries, one that speaks English and another that speaks French. In the world of business, the spoken language is critical for four reasons. Firstly, the language can be essential in the process of collecting and evaluating information. Knowledge of the local business environment should not be totally dependent upon the opinions of outsiders. A manager with the ability to analyze the business situation firsthand through knowledge of the language has a tremendous market advantage. Secondly, although English is generally accepted as the international language of business, a manager still needs to communicate with other members of the local society and should have working knowledge of host country's language. Thirdly, if the managers do not have knowledge of host country's language, the internal company communications with non-English speaking employees cannot be accomplished effectively through interpreters. Fourthly, language goes beyond the pure technical skills to help the manager to understand the business context and operational challenges. Unspoken language. Unspoken language, sometimes referred to as non-verbal language, is an effective way of communicating our beliefs, values, and attitudes, as well as augmenting our verbal messages. There are a number of ways to categorize the many types of unspoken language, but the following examples are most widely recognized: facial expressions, walking, posture, hand gesture, color symbolism, proximity, touching, eye contact, olfaction, artifacts, clothing, hairstyles, cosmetics, and silence. Hand gesture can be very expressive in some cultures, but they often have different or even contradictory meanings. Color symbolism can be very confusing for the international manager. The color green, for example, is popular in the Muslim countries, but it symbolizes disease and pain in Malaysia. The color red symbolizes love, joy, and happiness in Chinese culture, and in many African cultures, it symbolizes death and grief. In Nigeria and South Africa, red symbolizes violence and sacrifice. Managing cultural diversity. Building a more diverse and effective workforce for the success of a corporation demands that management has a program to manage cultural diversity. Such a program will assist the firm during the testing times to plan effectively for recruiting and selecting the best employees for managing the international business operations. A culturally diverse workforce will maximize a company's ability to deal with a culturally diverse marketplace. Moreover, the culturally diverse work teams can better deal with culturally diverse consumers. They can advertise better and leverage other marketing techniques to attract diverse customers. Furthermore, they can better manage financial institutions, labor unions, professional associations, and so on. Firms that are going to be globally effective in business operations must develop cross-cultural training programs to help their employees become more sensitive towards other cultures and their fellow employees. One popular form of cross-cultural training is the cultural assimilation, through which trainees respond to scenarios of particular situations in specific countries. Such programs have been most successful for Arab countries, Iran, Thailand, Central America, and Greece. Managing individual and workforce diversity. In addition to learning to manage cultural diversity, the international HR manager must also develop skills in the management of individuals' diversity. Needless to mention that in each culture, there will still be many ways in which each individual will be uniquely different from another. A trained HR manager will carefully and selectively apply the American adage, different strokes for different folks, to manage such individual who uniquely contributes to growth of the firm. Managing a diverse workforce may sometimes result in challenges such as miscommunication, mistrust, poor cohesiveness, and stereotyping. However, these barriers of diversity can be overcome by a well-integrated system which plan, execute, and take care of needs of training, development, awareness, and assimilation of specific types of cultural sensitivities for its diverse workforce. Critical enablers for successful management of cultural diversity would include the following. 1. Strong and visible support from the top management. 2. Continuous efforts to assess the training needs to manage cultural diversity. 3. Flexible programs for recruitment, selection, training, retention, and upward mobility of a diverse workforce. 4. Programs to accommodate family needs such as creche and care centers for the elderly. 5. Alternative work schedules including part-time work, job sharing, compressed work weeks, flexi time, etc. 6. Telecommuting opportunities for non-conventional workers and foreign workers who do not wish to immigrate. 7. Diversity training. 8. Language training. 9. Mentoring or the use of high-level managers to guide high-potential women, minorities, and fringe groups to promote diversity. 10. Support groups that help build minority networks for the support and guidance of needy employees. 11. Career development opportunities including promotions to maximize the upward mobility of diverse employees to overcome the glass ceilings that tend to hold them back.
You were listening to the audiobook by the School of Management Studies IGNOU for MBA program. Course code Mmpc 016 International Business Management. Course Coordinator Professor G. Subayama. Voiceover by Renuka. Edited by Ashok Sharma. Program assisted by Tarannum Jahan and Jagbandhu Jana. Program produced by Dr. Manoj Kumar Singh. This program was brought to you by Electronic Media Production Center of Indira Gandhi National Open University.